Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Monday night, our Wednesday night Bible study, and the 14th of July, 2021. We're going to be connecting dots for Israelites, as usual. So I'm going to ask everybody to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button when you get a chance. This is the non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Torah and the Tanakh. The Tanakh is the Old Testament. The Torah is the first 5 books of Moses that he received from the Lord of hosts on Mount Sinai. For those that don't know, okay. So with that, I'm going to say shalom and welcome everybody. And we're going to do our business as usual. We're going to do our moment of silence in regards to the Creator and our Redeemer orchestrating our deliverance from the land of our oppressors. And we're going to do a moment of prayer, songs, and current events. O Lord, we pray unto the Lord our God. We make our confessions, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping covenant and mercy to them that love thee and to them that keep thy commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us a confusion of face, as is this day, to the men of Judah, to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel, that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven us, because of our trespass, that we have trespassed against thee. As it is written in the laws of Moses, all this evil is come upon us in the land of our captivity, here in the Americas, Caribbean, Great Britain, and Africa. O Lord, according to all thy righteousness, I beseech thee, and let thine anger and thy fury be turned away from thy city Jerusalem, and thy people, and thy holy mountain. O Lord, hear this prayer, and cause thy face to shine upon thy sanctuary and thy people for your sake. O Lord, open thine eyes and incline thine ears to hear, and behold our condition. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hearken and do, and defer not for thine own sake. O my Lord, for thy people and your land need you desperately at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay, we're going to deal with the songs right quick. Okay. Says we're going to deal with Psalm 65. God is powerful in nature. It says it's a Psalm of David, a song of David. Praise waiteth for thee, O God in Zion, and unto thee shall the vow be performed. O thou that hearest prayer, unto thee shall all flesh come. Iniquity prevaileth against me. As for our transgressions, thou shalt purge them away. Blessed is the man whom thou choosest, and causest to approach unto thee, that he may dwell in thy courts. We shall be satisfied with the goodness of thy house, even of the holy temple. Right? So I'm going to read verse 4 again. Blessed is the man whom thou choosest, and causeth to approach unto thee, that he may dwell in the courts. We shall be satisfied with the goodness of thine house, even the holy temple. By terrible things and righteousness will thou answer us, O God of our salvation, who art the confidence of all the ends of the earth, and of them that are far off upon the sea, which by his strength setteth fast the mountains, being girded with power, which stilleth the noise of the seas, the noise of their waves, and the tumult of the people. They also that dwell in the uttermost parts are afraid at thy tokens. Thou makest the outgoings of the morning and evening to rejoice. Thou visitest the earth and watereth it. Thou greatly enrichest it with the rivers of God, which is full of water. Thou prepared them corn when thou hast so provided for it. Thou watereth the ridges thereof abundantly. Thou sellest the furrows thereof. Thou makest it soft with showers. Thou blessest the spring thereof. Thou crownest the earth with thy goodness, and thy paths drop fatness. Thou drop upon the pastures of the wilderness, and the little hills rejoice on every side. The pastures are clothed with flocks, and the valleys also are covered over with corn. Thou shoutest for joy, they also sing. So that's Psalm 65. It says, the Lord of hosts is powerful in nature. They got God there, but it's the Lord of hosts is powerful in nature. Right? So this is amazing to me because this question was posed about a week or so ago. And the question was when the Most High divided the waters and had the firmament in between them. And I was explaining the fact that it's rivers on the earth, that's liquid water. And the other half is vapors. That's above the firmament. That's where the rain comes from. And I also told you that the Most High said, Enoch tells us that the angels conveyed to him while he was taken up that it's something in the water. It's something that's put in the water, while it's in vapor form. And then that water condensation happens. The water turns to liquid, fall to the earth. That's what everything on the earth, the mother is waiting on. You know, the plants, all that waiting on that. Whatever that on that water is, that's what they're waiting on. So it's a mad cycle. The anointing is put in the water, it falls to the earth, then the sun bring it back up, and it's going to put it in again. It's a mad cycle, right? So you say, what are you talking about? Let's look at this. Make it plain. It says, thou, Psalm 65, verse 9, thou visit the earth and watereth it. Thou greatly enriches it. See that? What Enoch told us. Greatly enriches it with the rivers of God. That's the rivers I told you is in heaven. That's in vapor form. Where he at? Up there where he at. See that? It says, thou visitest the earth, watereth it, thou greatly enriches it with the rivers of God. The river of God, which is full of water. See that? That's up in heaven when he divided the water and put the firmament in between them. The liquid on the ground and on the lakes and the oceans and all that, but the vapors is up there where he at. That's where the dew and all that come from, what the angels bring early in the morning. So it says, 9, thou visitest the earth, watereth it, thou greatly enriches it with the rivers of God, which is full of water. Thou will prepare them corn when thou hast so provided for it. 10, thou watereth the ridges thereof abundantly, thou settlest the furrows thereof, and maketh it soft with showers. Thou blessest the spring thereof. So what's up in that water is the main component that's triggering out everything else. And so when you rightly divide it, you said you got angels that's over water. Well, that's what they're doing. They're putting something in the water. Okay? Make that firmate. Okay. Anybody got any current events? Okay, I got one. Then we're gonna go to the Q&A. Can y'all see that?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that the New World Order is marching on. You know, I to me, in my own mind, it comes closer and closer that it is very real. That even though Germany and the Axis lost World War II, I don't think that the Nazis did. I think that the Nazis won World War II. And I think that their authoritarian methods of behavior control, mind manipulation, converting human spirit into energy so that they can feed the need for their technology. I think all of this stuff is just moving right on down the line here. And I think that there really is no political solution or an economic solution that exists right now. And I think that we need to get a clear perception of reality and where we are in reality, and take responsibility. And by using our intelligence intelligently, create the solutions that we need to create. Because right now, I mean, we're just more fuel, somewhere.
So I'm gonna stop there right there, cause I'm gonna play it back again. This is what I'm telling you about. What I was telling you about how, first of all, I told you about the Kabbalah. So 9 times out of 10, all these Edomites run Hollywood. They own Hollywood. They Kabbalists. So that's when you're talking about going to the director chair and all that. It's tied to Kabbalah. That's what it's tied to. So I was telling you in the movies they're making money off us because we throw, but the movie ain't for us. The movie for the other people, other Kabbalists, those high level Freemasons and all that. They watching the movie, and they really getting the blast out of it. Matter of fact, all of them get together and watch the movie before it ever come out. They go watch it all together in the same place and watch it. So this is what I mean right here. So what I'm going to show you right here, the same thing when you read something in red in the New Testament. Is a group of Edomites think tank that wrote that in red, and they want you to think a certain way, and they imposing their will on you. Well, all that they wrote in that New Testament in red, they came up with that. It's a group of them. They the ones concocted JC, and they got you thinking a certain way. So you brainwashed when you know what I'm saying. I was talking to a brother today. I said, it's embarrassing now, 2021, running around hollering about JC. That's embarrassing. So anyway, right here in this part of the movie right here, straight out telling you the truth. They do this all the time. You have to have an eye for it. So this part right here, notice how they done focus the camera in on him and all that. He's straight up spitting the raw truth to you. Listen to what he's saying.
I think that the New World Order is marching on.
Edomites talking.
To me, in my own mind, it comes closer and closer that it is very real, that even though Germany and the Axis lost World War II, I don't think that the Nazis did.
No, they didn't.
I think that the Nazis won World War II.
See what I'm saying?
And I think that their authoritarian methods of behavior control, mind manipulation, converting human spirit into energy so that they can feed the need for their technology. I think all of this stuff is just moving right on down the line here. And I think that there really is no political solution or an economic solution that exists right now. And I think that we need to get a clear perception of reality and where we are in reality, and take responsibility. And by using our intelligence intelligently, create the solutions that we need to create. Because right now, I mean, we're just more fuel. Somewhere under the religious perception of reality, a decision was made that the earth was the dominion of man, and man therefore could plunder the earth, that man could take whatever they wanted from the earth. But somewhere in the progress of this mindset, man has forgotten that we are part of the earth. And just the way that this system that technologic man has devised to take the resources of the earth and turn them into fuel and energy, they've taken our spirit and they're returning it through their process of civilization, taking our spirit and turning it into energy to run their system. We need to remember that what happens to the earth happens to us.
It was happening, man. It's your boy Papa Dog. Listen, man, like, comment, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button, because they show these videos to more people when you like them. And if you look below on YouTube, you'll see our merch store. Everything that you buy for our merch store goes back into this channel to help spread the message. Now, that was a video by John Trudell. Like, I agree with him 100%, and I want to try to bring this to y'all attention to understand something, right? We've been told to go to school. We've been told to learn certain things just so that we can be kept in a box. So let's look at it like this here. Let me simplify what he's saying. You could be the best baseball player, football player, boxer. You could be the greatest, whatever. In the fake world, in the box, it means something. But in the real world, it don't mean shit. A mechanic can't help me in the wilderness. A mechanic can't help me in the Amazon where we supposed to live. We're living off the land. We're getting so detached from reality to our world that we know now is a dream world. Does that make sense? We're being so far thrown from being normal and living the way we're supposed to live. It's all about spirituality, the sun, the universe. Those things we're getting so far away from. We don't know shit about astrology. We're not learning the things we should learn. But we know more about an Xbox than we do know about the color coordination in the jungle. To where this fruit, this color means this. Like red deals with blood. Purple or something like that deal with antioxidants. We're not learning that type of shit. We're learning things that this fake ass world has to offer, and we're getting so far from reality. Right now, 2021, no one knows in the reality space where we simply lie. We don't know where we at when it comes to reality. Dig what I'm saying? We so far fetched from being distracted from all these different entertainments and this and that, so we don't know nothing about living off the land. We don't know nothing about. People can't even go outside, look at the sky, and tell what time it is without looking at a watch. These things were created by the people that want to control us. And I keep telling y'all, the more and more they put us in the box, the more and more they bring us to an animal state, the more and more they can control you. It's all fake. It's a dream world. And it's so crazy that the things in the fake world governs our feelings, governs the way we see things. That's fake.
Yeah, that's why we're so emotional.
It is fake. A lot of times people speak about relationships and different things. It's damn near impossible for a lot of those things to thrive in a fake reality, in a fake environment. We're supposed to live tribal, like the genes and the cells in our bodies. We adapt. They know this. You can take a cell from your leg, put it in your arm, give it time, it will adapt. That's what we do. So when people feel as though if we don't be governed by some goddamn motherfuckers who don't give a fuck about us, we still gonna live. We're gonna find a way. To me, it's like when people say, "Oh, it's evolution. The world is evolving through technology." That's bullshit. The world we're getting away from is already perfect. Mother Nature is perfect. How can it evolve in that way? You get what I'm saying? It's already set up. It's an ecosystem. You get what I'm saying? You remember when the bird eat the worm, and when the bird eat the worm, it poops out into the ground, and then it's a system. It's an ecosystem. Man done came and fucked that all up. Told y'all the honeybees. They got a special on Netflix about the honeybees.
Yeah.
Honeybees beekeepers are losing millions of dollars. And the Chinese are coming in with the fake honey, honestly. And then the reason why the bees can't make it back to the hives is because of radiation. Cell phone, 5G. But dealing with not just radiation, but dealing with the cell phone signals and shit, the towers and stuff. My mind is right now. But it's throwing off their navigation. They can't make it back to the hive. So when a lot of these beekeepers look up, all their bees are gone. And it's crazy that, the more technology advances, the more we fucking over Mother Nature, the more something big is coming. You cannot outdo harmony. So when you take away from something somewhere else, you gain strength in somewhere else. Meaning, if you go black.
Yeah, you notice how you skip it all around the Lord of Hosts and Yahweh.
Today, you gain strength in your ears. Your ears become your eyes. You get what I'm saying? You will find a way. We adapt. That's what we do. And they know this. So they have to keep putting these fake realities in front of us. You get what I'm saying? And I'm just being honest. And being real with y'all. The more we detach from being normalized or being normal, the more we've been put in this fake ass world, we are in a dream world. You get what I'm saying? You can't look at a strawberry and appreciate a strawberry, even though it's a hybrid. But just say a fruit. You can't look at a fruit and really appreciate what a fruit is. But you would rather say this Xbox is more important than this fruit. You would rather say this bag of money is more important than this fruit. And all I'm saying is this. I just want to bring this to your attention. Everyone is under this fake spell. And yes, I do things that I don't want to do, but I understand how powerful the spell is when it comes to money. It's like I tell people, you can't go to war unless you got your money right in this fake ass reality. So with that being said, right, I tell people everything can be reverse engineered. You can't outdo these motherfuckers by yourself. We're not at this point in time, and I'm not saying we're not gonna be, but this point in time we're not organized. We don't have enough resources to go against them because I be trying to tell people. When you look at the army and the police department and all, man, these people are unified. These people come to work unified, brainwashed. And when you try to go up against them, you've been playing cards, you've been working, you're not equipped, you're not ready. So this is the thing we got to understand. America is under this spell, even when it comes to money. Under this spell, but we can use money against them the same way they do with us. If I had $1 billion, I'm just gonna give it away. I'm gonna pay a motherfucker to come to this facility that I built where you ain't got to eat this, you ain't got to be around all this. You can just detach from all the bullshit. I'll pay a motherfucker to do that. And when enough people see that it works, then what? We reverse engineered it.
Okay. Anybody got any comments on that?
Yeah, I do.
What do you got?
It is a good point that he was bringing out, that our people are under a spell and they do put more thought and care into electronics, into money, into all these things instead of appreciating nature, appreciating the fact that you're supposed to grow your own food and eat it and things like that. But the only thing that I just I can't get jiggy with him because he continues to act like, oh, we come together, this, that, and the third. We are nothing without our Lord of hosts. We are absolutely nothing, and we are in great jeopardy without him. We might as well we are a complete target without no protection, without our God to come in and protect us. So if you think for one moment, if a group of us got together and we had enough money, none of that matters until we submit to these laws, statutes, and commandments, and until we continue to live out our servitude and the Most High turns back his favor towards us and we back in his sight, we're going to continue to have these things happen to us. And the rest of the world needs to understand how important the Israelite is in the world, because when we down, they down. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, that's all coming to pass. Right. Anybody else?
Yeah, I was going to say that,
Can you hear me?
I mean, he talks a good game, and I appreciate where he's coming from. But again, he don't know the host, so, he don't know who the King of Glory is. And that matters. It really does. But it matters in a grand way, for real.
Right.
But people are absent of the knowledge, so.
Right. Yeah, it stick out like a sore thumb once you get to a certain place. Yeah, so I was talking about earlier how, like I say, people not really focusing in on it, but I guess it just comes natural with me. So it's two different situations I was going to tell you about those movies when they just give you raw information, and they even work the camera a certain way, so you know what they're doing when they do it. So the movie Alexandria, on that when Bartholomew, when you understand the story, Alexander had 4 generals that was raised up with him. That's when he got ready to die. That's who he gave the Greek kingdom to. That's why it was divided into 4 parts. So in the movie, you know what I'm saying? If you don't know this, you're missing out on a lot of stuff in the movie. So Bartholomew the one narrating the story. Bartholomew is the one that got Egypt. Bartholomew is the father of the 29th dynasty in Egypt. And so he was telling the story about how, grand Alexander was and all that. He was telling the story. But then he got to the point when they said he fell sick. And then he said, yeah, that's what they said. That's what they had them write in there. He said, but we killed him. Them folk generals killed him. And so he said, why? Why they killed him? He an Edomite, right? And then, so two things happened that people don't understand about that. Alexander was a ARs was too. ARs was they was intellectuals. They had these big libraries and they studied a lot and they was intellectuals. And he had got to a point where he wasn't really down with his forefathers, the way they would handle things. He was a faggot, but he wasn't down with what they was doing. So they wanted him to because the whole purpose they brought him there was to attack Jerusalem, to annihilate Jerusalem. They wanted to get him back, get Jacob back. But when he got there, he didn't. So what had happened was, let me read it, because I want to bring the Bible to life. So this is how you know about Revelation. This killed Revelation. So I'm in Daniel chapter 11. Daniel chapter 11. So it says in chapter 11, verse 1, also I, in the first year of Darius of the Medes, even I stood to confirm and to strengthen him. This Gabriel talking. So he said, I was there with Darius of the Medes, right? Even I stood there, stood to confirm and strengthen him. So like I was telling you, Most High, these 7 angels was with Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar sent their messages out to all those people to come help him. Nobody wouldn't help him, but little did they know them 7 angels was with him. So when he went up against the Assyrian army, that was the powerful army at the time. They started laughing, but them 7 angels was with him. They were standing there just like he's telling you right here. Also I, in the first year of Darius, and who gonna beat him? Who gonna do anything with Darius if they there? So it says, also I, in the first year of Darius, the Medes, even I stood there to strengthen him. See what I'm saying? So you can't do nothing with him if they there. So they was with Nebuchadnezzar. And Nebuchadnezzar knocked off the Assyrians. So that's what bring him on the scene. So right here, this is the Medes and Persians. So Gabriel telling you, he says, also I, in the first year of Darius, so that means that Cyrus just died. Darius took his place of the Medes. Even I stood to confirm him. Now keep going. 2, and now I will show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia. See what I'm saying? So we know exactly what this is. So how many most kings it is? It's ARs, right? We told you ARs, I just told you. Then cannabis, I think it was. Then another Darius came. This is where they tricking us at. Let me show you what I'm talking about right quick. I'm in Daniel chapter 9. See it? In the first year, this Daniel talking. In the first year of Darius, the son of ARs. See that? Or the seed of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. That's another Darius. So keep going. 2. And now I will show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than them all. And by his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up against the realm of the Grecians. See that? So you got these mega pastors, rabbis, and all them trying to fit this into Revelations. Come on, imagine that. So he says, and now I will show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than they are. Who is this? Darius. There's 2 Dariuses. I just showed you the one Darius. He tells you right here in verse 1. In the first year of Darius, the Medes, even I stood up to confirm and strengthen him. So that's the first Darius. And then the last Darius, the last king of Medes and Persians was Darius. And Alexandria marveled at him because Darius was an intellectual. He had a big library. So Alexander didn't want to kill him. He wanted to conquer him, but he wanted him to keep what he was doing going, but he's gonna be submissive to him. But the other Edomites, had a contention to go out like a special forces unit. They went out and tracked Darius down and killed him before Alexander got there. And then when Alexander got there and saw him dead on the ground, he just melted. He cried like a dog. So his whole countenance was changed, and so they wanted him to go up against Jerusalem, destroy Jerusalem, right? But that ain't part of his prophecies. There's the prophets and all we talked about. So, because Antiochus Epiphanes is going to do that. So Alexander was killed. They killed him. Them four generals behind the scene, they poisoned him. They trick type poisoners. That's what they do. All the whole 29th dynasty, they gotta, they gotta raise them or send them off somewhere and raise them because they're gonna get killed if they stay there. If it's 2-3 of them that's in line to be king, then the other one's trying to kill the other one. They coming out of the belly trying to do that. So they would send them off somewhere, like Cleopatra. They had to send her off somewhere. They're gonna kill her. You know what I'm saying? So they killed Alexander. They poisoned him. He ain't died for no alcohol poisoning. They killed him. And that's what Ptolemy tell you in the movie. And then, like I said, if you want to see what I'm talking about, go look at it and watch what they're gonna do with the camera and all that. They're gonna set it up, get it to you raw. And the other one is I told you, Alien and the Predator. In the movie, they done found this civilization in Atlantic, and they went down this hole down there, and there was a pyramid down there, but the pyramid got Egyptian writing on it, but it's got 2 earlier languages before the flood. And that's where these aliens coming to. These aliens been coming there to this place. So they had a guy in there that was like a linguist, whatever you call him. So they asked him to read. They looking through this little hole into this other part of the temple, and they got a flashlight, and he can see the writing on the wall, and they asked him to read it. Then they fixed the camera and everything, and he started reading, and he tell you the story of what happened in the beginning. He said these serpents, these giant serpents came from another planet, showing them landed on top of those pyramids in Aztecs. Yeah, that's one of the languages, the Aztecs. So they came and landed on top of these pyramids that the Aztecs have, which is showing their landing pads. That's the reason they flat on top. So they land on top of there, and then all these big old giant serpents coming out. They telling you right there in your face, but we looking at it thinking it's some kind of fictional movie when he done told you, Mosai told you, the serpents that came in the garden. Out the gate in the Genesis. The serpent came in the garden. And so he's Lucifer. So that means he ain't no regular height. He's a big serpent. And the dude's telling you on the movie, the serpents came here. And these fancy aircrafts and stuff. And they came in, they started tapping with the planet. And they've been leaving and coming back ever since. Yeah. So you want to check that out, just check it out. I think it's like at the 45-minute mark in Alien versus the Predator. Okay. Yeah. So any comments on anything I said before we go to the Q&A?
You said it was 2 King Dariuses. The first King Darius was in Daniel chapter 9, verse 1. That was, but when we go to chapter 11, I'm just trying to see the difference between the 2 Dariuses. Right. And chapter 11 is a different Darius because it's still
no, that's the same one. The one in Daniel 9 and the one in chapter 11, the same Darius, because he tells. Let's read it. So he says, verse 2, chapter 11, verse 2. And now I will show thee. This Gabriel telling them. We dealing with he came with the Darius, the first Darius. That's when he came on the scene, Gabriel. That's when he's talking to Daniel during the time of the first Darius. And he says, and now I will show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 more kings in Persia. See that? And yes. The fourth shall be far richer than they all. And by his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Greece. So what you have to do with that, you go to world history, and you understand that Darius is the one that went to conquer, to fight against the Greeks. He the one that's the marathon and the movie. I mean about the marathon, the Battle of Marathon, and when the 300 fought. All that was when Darius went. So what Darius was doing was, when you go back to and like I said, you got to go to the movie and you got to go to the Apocrypha. Aorus is the king that Esther married, and so when you read that story, you understand he getting ready to go to war. That's why he had a big banquet, and he's getting ready to leave. And his first wife, the one that reason why he had to get Esther was she wouldn't listen. She wasn't with war. She said, you got everything you need. Why you going to war? So when he called her to come out, she didn't come out. She disrespected him. So he had her banished. So now he needs another queen. That's how Esther come on the scene. So anyway, he was on his way to war. He was on his way to Greece. But the Greeks embarrassed him. And Darius never forgot that. That's why the second Darius, he wanted to go and avenge the Medes and Persians for what they had done to Aorus. But you have to understand all that in the Greek history. So he the last king of the Medes and Persians. That's not the same Darius in Daniel 9 and Daniel 11. And then another thing, that Darius is a title. Like I was telling you, Satan is a title. The word Satan is a title. It ain't his name. It means Satan means adversary. And Melchizedek is a title. That's not a person's name. That's a title. King of Shalom. And Darius is a title. Okay? So you have to understand that. Anyway, so they ask your question?
Yeah, Brother Leonard, it actually did.
Yeah, so what you do is just go and Google the kings list of the Persians. You're gonna see it. Darius 1, Darius 2. The last king of Persia was Darius 2. That's the one that Gabriel talking about right here in verse 2. He had, between the time Cyrus came and when Darius came, they had plundered the whole world, pretty much the whole known world. So Darius was the man with all the money. He's far richer he's way richer than Cyrus was. And that's why he was going around trying to conquer people, and he figured he was in a position to go and avenge the Persians because of what they had embarrassed them earlier with Aorus. So he went over there, and that's what happened. He stirred up the Greeks. And that's what brought the Greeks to the Middle East. And Alexander knocked him off. But Alexander marveled at him. But those other generals envied and hated him. So when Alexander, they knew Alexander was going to allow him to live, allow him to continue to reign, but he's going to be subject to him. But so they sent out and killed him. And then when they wanted Alexander to go up against Judah, I mean Jerusalem, destroy Jerusalem, and they wanted the land, but Alexander wouldn't do it, so they paused him, killed him, and they already know what part of the kingdom they wanted. It was 4 of them. They already knew what part of the kingdom they wanted. That's what the Most High is talking about right here. Let me read it. Okay. Chapter 8, verse 18. This is I'm gonna start at verse 15. This is the interpretation of the ram and he-goat. Came to pass when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision, sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me as appearance of a man, this Gabriel. Same angel over there in Daniel 11. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of the Uriah, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid, and I fell upon my face. But he said unto me, understand, son of man, for at the time of the end, Israel as a nation, that shall be the vision. Now, as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground, but he touched me, set me upright, and he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of indignation, for the time appointed, the end shall be. So this indignation is the Lord of hosts' indignation. He fed up with Israel. 20. And the ram which thou sawest, having 2 horns, are the kings of the Medes and Persians, right? The rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that between his eyes is the first king, that's Alexander. Now that being broken, This is where the lie come in at. Now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of that nation, but not in his power. So they, like I was saying before, they knew what part of the kingdom they wanted. So they killed Alexander, but Ptolemy wanted Egypt. That's how you get the 29th dynasty, the Ptolemaic dynasty. 29th dynasty, these Greeks. And so then he tells you in 23, and in the latter times of their kingdom is divided into 4 parts. When the transgressor come to a fool, the king of fierce counters, understand dark sentences shall stand up. That's the Antioch Epiphanes. He the epitome of the Greeks. They all of them wicked as hell. So let's look at it. 23, and in the latter end of their kingdom, right? When the transgressors, see that? So we reading over that. So he telling you these Greeks is transgressors. Why they transgressors? Cain was a transgressor. That's where they got it from. And who Cain's father was? Satan. He was a transgressor. He had to get kicked out of heaven because of that. So these transgressors then came to a fool in Antioch Epiphanes, the Antichrist. Let's read it. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors, see that? Or come to a fool, a king of fierce countenance and understand dark sentences shall stand up. So at the epitome of these transgressors, Antioch Epiphanes popped up, destroyed Jerusalem, destroyed the Israelite temple, destroyed them, ran them out. So anyway, like I was saying before, Darius was the one that gave Zerubbabel the letters to go back to Jerusalem and build a temple. That ain't the same. That ain't the same Darius that was at the end when when Alexander came, and Alexander like I said, they killed the Darius. That was the end of the Medes Persian Empire when they killed Darius II. It's 2 Dariuses. But you're not gonna really deal with that because you don't know, you don't even know, the average person. We talking about mega pastors. This ain't the little lowly Christian sitting in the pews. The mega pastor don't even know who Zerubbabel is. He don't even know Zerubbabel built the temple. So he's not even trying to deal with if it's 2 Dariuses because he don't even know what's going on. Okay. All right. Anybody got any comments? Okay. Let's see where we was at. Yeah, I was on Q&A. Anybody got any questions or comments or anything before I go into Joshua? Any questions from reading, studying, watching a movie or whatever? Going once? Nobody got nothing? Okay. I'm in the book of Joshua. I'm dealing with Joseph. It's starting at Joshua chapter 41. Yeah, I went over there and went off in that in my little library, and I found that I got that book of Nathan, but I ended up leaving it in a truck. Talking to somebody about it.
And you said Joshua 41?
Yeah, we're going to start verse 1. And at the revolution of a year, the sons of Jacob journeyed from Shechem, and they came to Hebron to their father Isaac, and they dwelt there with their flocks and their herds. They fed daily in Shechem, for there was, I don't know if I'm saying that word right, but there was there in those days good and fat pastures, and Jacob and his sons and all their household dwelt in the valley of Hebron. You say, and it was in those days, in that year, being 106 years of the life of Jacob. In the 10th year of Jacob coming from Paneram, that Leah, the wife of Jacob, died. And she was 51 years old when she died in Hebron, right? So let's look at sound light on something right quick. Verse 1. It says, and at the revolution of the year, the sons of Jacob, I keep on telling you this over and over again, this major. It says at the revolution of the year, the sons of Jacob journeyed from Shechem, and they came to Hebron and their father Isaac, to their father Isaac, and they dwelt there. Look at this. But their flocks and their herds they fed daily in Shechem, for there were there in those days good and fat pastures. See that? And Jacob and his sons and their household dwelt in the valley of Hebron. See that? So they got to have flocks and herds. The Yahweh, the Lord of hosts, required him sacrifices. So imagine that. We ain't got no flocks and herds. So that's a pickle right there. We already in the pickle. What we gonna do? Our strong one require us a sacrifice. And not only that, 3 times a year, 3 times a day, morning, evening, and 3 oblations, morning, evening, and morning, noon, and evening. See that?
Hey, Leonard, is the revolution of the year the ending of the year or toward the end of the year?
Right. Yeah. So he says when he went to go anoint David, where was David at? He wasn't with his brothers. Where he was at?
He was out tending the flocks.
Tending the flocks. Where Joseph was at?
The same with the flocks.
Tending the flocks. See that? So Abel. Cain killed Abel. What Abel was? Keeper of sheep. So now we waking up all over the place saying we Hebrew Israelites ain't no sheep. Come on. You gotta think about this. So how in the world can you even get puffed up? You know what I'm saying? Get a little knowledge and get puffed up. You know, we don't have no sheep, you know, we don't have what it takes to get to our the Lord of hosts. He requires us to sacrifice these lambs. Not no man on a cross, no red-headed man on a cross. He requires us rams and goats and bullocks. Okay? So anyway, 3. And Jacob and his sons buried her in the cave of the field of Methvah, which is in Hebron, and Abraham had bought from the children of Heth for possession of a burial place. And the sons of Jacob dwelt with their father in the valley of Hebron, and all the inhabitants of the land knew their strength, and their fame went throughout the land. And Joseph, the son of Jacob, and his brother Benjamin, the son of Rachel, the wife of Jacob, were yet young in those days, and did not go out with their brethren during their battles in all the cities of the Amorites. And when Joseph saw the strength of his brethren and their greatness, he praised them and exalted them, but he ranked himself greater than them and extolled himself above them. And Jacob, his father, also loved him more than any of his sons, for he was a son of his old age. And through his love toward him, he made him a coat of many colors. So, anybody got any comments on that? Well, why Jacob made Joseph this coat of many colors, and why he loved Joseph so much? Anybody ever get to the bottom of that?
Joseph came from his sweet thing, his love for Rachel. That was his sweet thing, So of course he was gonna love him. That was the child that was like basically, the miracle child. And I know the Book of the Jews go into more detail about, the beef between Joseph and his brothers, because apparently, he was doing a little bit of sneak dissing and a little bit of snitching behind their backs, or whatever. And he also was the one that was blessed. All the 12 kids was blessed, but he was blessed in a whole different type of way, where he had visions of dreams, and while all the other brothers were tending to the flocks and sheep, he had him more learning about things and in the scrolls.
Right. Okay. So, that not only did Rachel have Joseph, she had Benjamin too, right?
She did.
And matter of fact, Benjamin, she died having Benjamin, right?
Yes, she did.
Okay. So when you go back and look at it, I showed you in Genesis. He said Adam, after Cain killed Abel, Adam had Seth, right? Had a son, right? And called his name Seth. That's the one the Most High called. Then he had other sons and daughters, but look at the same thing right here. He got 12 sons, but he called Joseph. Jacob ain't got nothing to do with it. Joseph was the one he called. So why he called him? Because he sent Joseph to Egypt. Joseph the one delivered him. Joseph the one saved Jacob's seed. He sent them on ahead of him to Egypt. He had anointing on him. Jacob the one he called. Okay. So anyway, let's keep going. It says, and when Joseph saw that his father loved him more, than his brethren, and he continued to exalt himself above his brethren, and he brought unto his father evil report concerning them. So I want to look at that. Like I was telling you, when the Antioch Epiphanes came, they got a hotel records, and if you notice, they denigrated all our forefathers. They denigrated David. They denigrated. They said Abraham was a drunk. As soon as he wasn't drinking and getting drunk before the flood, before he got on the boat, all of a sudden he can't wait to get drunk after he get off the boat. So they don't add up. It's just like this don't add up. So it says 7. And when Joseph saw that his father loved him more than his brethren, he continued to exalt himself. So that's saying that he puffed up. He's just like Lucifer. They ain't adding up. Okay. So he says, and when Joseph saw that his father loved him more than his brethren, he continued to exalt himself above his brethren, and he brought unto his father an evil report concerning them. And the sons of Jacob seeing that the whole of Joseph's conduct toward them, and that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak peaceably to him at all the days. And Joseph was 17 years old, and he was still magnifying himself. See that? Don't sound right to me. So it says Joseph was 17 years old, and he was still magnifying himself above his brethren. You know what I'm saying? The only way you can take that is that he proud, and he believe he exalting himself above all his brothers. They don't sound like Joseph Thomas. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, and Joseph was 17 years old, and he was. Somebody say something? Okay, and Joseph was 17 years old, and he was still magnifying himself above his brethren, and thought of raising himself above them. And at that time, he dreamed a dream, and he came unto his brothers and told them his dream. And he said unto them, I dreamed a dream, and behold, we were all binding sheaves in the field, and my sheaves rose and placed itself upon the ground, and your sheaves surrounded it and bowed down to it. And his brethren answered him and said unto him, what meaneth thou this dream that thou didst dream? Doest thou imagine in thine heart to reign or rule over us? So let's look at that. Looking at and see how Esau how he worked. Who sent the dream?
God sent the dream.
Lord of hosts.
So the Lord sent the dream. Where the book of life at?
In heaven.
Okay. So he sent the dream to Joseph, telling him what's gonna happen, what's gonna happen to him. So who's getting that? Who's getting jealous? Is it Joseph or is it his 11 brothers?
It was the brothers. I think
The
it was
brothers.
the brothers, and I
Yeah,
think
they
it
all
came to
all of
court.
them were. What's that?
I think it was more so not. It wasn't more so boasting. It was just the fact that they know that I'm sure they were aware that the Most High gave called out Joseph in his infancy, um, as well as him getting the coat. And Joseph was a very common, handsome young man, and I think that also was an issue. Not necessarily he was boasting, but you're looking at these factual things that happened, and
Right.
and then they turn around and you talk about a dream, and I'm like, I'm 30 years old and you 17, and you think I'm your oldest brother.
Right. Right. They raised they Hebrews. So they
Mhm.
was raised by uh Abraham and Isaac and all them. So they know where the dream come from. They ain't had no dream, so they know Yah is dealing with him. So the animosity coming from them because the Yah they see the favor on him from Jump Street. But the clown that wrote this right here trying to turn it where Joseph is puffed up and got his head up in the air and he imposing himself on his brothers.
Yeah, his grandfather and father would stop that with the quickness,
Right, exactly.
because
So
because over the history, they know what happens when you puff up.
right, exactly. And like I said, they know the culture. They know if he hadn't having dreams, yeah, the heaven dealing with him. Lord of hosts the one dealing when he's sending them dreams. See that? So verse 11 says, and his brothers answered him and said unto him, what meaneth thou this dream that thou didst dream? Dost thou imagine in thine heart to reign or rule over us? And he still came and told the thing to his father Jacob. And Jacob kissed Joseph when he heard these words from his mouth. And Jacob blessed Joseph. Right? It says, and when the sons of Jacob saw that their father had blessed Joseph and had kissed him, and that he loved him exceedingly, they became jealous of him and hated him the more. See that? So let's look at that, because didn't Cain and Abel go to make a sacrifice?
Yeah.
And Lord of hosts received Abel's sacrifice, but he didn't see Cain. That's what got Cain. That's what got Abel killed. See that? Ain't no different. Ain't no different right here. They got a problem because they see the spirit of the Most High. The direction that it's going in is pointed toward David, pointed toward Joseph. And they got a problem with that. Same with Jacob. When Esau saw Yah was the Lord of hosts was with Jacob. He had a problem with it. So it says, and after this, Joseph dreamed another dream. He got dreams all over the place. And Joseph dreamed another dream. He related the dream to his father. Watch this. And he related the dream to his father in the presence of his brethren. Joseph said unto his father and brethren, behold, I have again dreamed a dream. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bow down to me. Somebody doing the most. Say, bow down to me. Says, and his father heard the words of Joseph and his dream, and seeing that his brethren hated Joseph on account of this matter, Jacob therefore rebuked Joseph before his brethren on account of this thing, saying, what meaneth thou this dream which thou hast dreamed, and this magnifying thyself before thy brethren who are older than thou? Do thou imagine in thy heart that I and thy mother and thy 11 brothers will come and bow down to thee, that thou speakest these things? So, anybody get anything out of that?
I mean, his dad tried to cool off the situation. You got your brothers around here hating you, the finest one out the group. You the youngest one. You getting special privileges. Just like how when you got siblings, it seemed like the youngest child always get off easy. The older ones start complaining about, well, he didn't get as many whoopings. If that was me, you would have knocked my head into the TV type stuff. And,
Right.
you know, in order to cool off the situation, because, you know, he not always around to be able to protect Joseph when his brothers get to plucking him up upside his head and tripping him and stuff, you know, he just tried to cool off the situation. But he
Okay.
knew the truth.
Okay, so let's look at 14. And after this, Joseph dreamed another dream and related the dream to look at this. He related the dream to his father, Jacob, in the presence of his brethren, right? And then to Joseph. Joseph said unto his father, look at that, and his brethren, behold, I have again dreamed a dream. Now look what he say. Behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bow down to me. So what he's saying? You, Jacob, my mama, and the 11 boys bow down to me. That's what Jacob got a pickle about. He didn't told him point blank. Y'all done showed me you, your wife, my mama, and these 11 boys gonna bow down to me. So my thing is this: did they bow down to him?
Yep.
Yes,
Yes,
they did.
They were fumbling with it.
they feared him.
Right. Because like I say, when you understand what the Israelite countenance is, Most High goes and makes a point to tell us Moses was a meek man. You handle him in all kind of ways, and he allowing you to handle him all kind of ways. But he understand y'all with him. So he know you're gonna go away. You're gonna disappear because you ain't gonna do nothing to him. And that's what happened to Miriam and Aaron. They keep fumbling with him, but Moses ain't no, Moses ain't with all the drama. He a meek man. He got his countenance. That's the countenance of an Israelite. That's how we ended up over here. That's why we weren't trying to fight. We trying to help these clowns, and they are putting us in boats and sending us over here. We got a different type of countenance. So that's what that is. So Joseph just telling them the dream that the Lord Hosea gave him. They sent to him. He telling them, son, you Rebecca and these 11 boys gonna bow down to me. That's a dream. That's what the dream said. And then, like I said, we know what happened. So anyway, his brothers were jealous of him on account of his words. See that? On account of his words and dreams. See that? So let's look at that. And his brethren were jealous of him on account of his words and his dreams. So let's look at that. What the words at? You can't see the words. They in another dimension. Where the dreams at? In another dimension. Where the angels at? In another dimension. Come on. It says, and they continued to hate him. And Jacob reserved the dream in his heart. See that? And the sons of Jacob went one day to feed their father's flock in Shechem, for they were still herdsmen in those days. And while the sons of Jacob were that day feeding in Shechem, they delayed. And the time of their gathering in the cattle was past, and they had not arrived. And Jacob saw that his sons were delayed in Shechem. And Jacob said within himself, prevented the people of Shechem have risen up to fight against them. Therefore they have delayed coming this day. And Jacob called Joseph, his son, and commanded him, saying, behold, thy brethren are feeding in Shechem in this day, and behold, they have not yet come back. Go now, therefore, and see where they are, and bring me word back concerning the welfare of thy brethren and the welfare of thy flock. This Yah. Yeah, Yah set this up. And Jacob sent his son Joseph to the valley of Hebron, and Joseph came to his brethren in Shechem and could not find them. And Joseph went toward the field which was near Shechem to see where his brothers had turned, and he missed the road in the wilderness and knew not which way he should go. See that? It's Yah. He missed the road, he turned, right? And he ended up in the wilderness, and he knew not where he was going. He didn't throw him in the cross. Now, 22. And the angel of the Lord found him wandering in the road toward the field. And Joseph said unto the angel, yeah, yeah, this was going over our head. He talking to this angel. Joseph said unto the angel of the Lord, I seek my brethren. Have thou not heard where they are feeding? And the angel of the Lord said unto Joseph, I saw thy brethren feeding here, and I heard them. They say they would go to feed and do them. And Joseph hearkened to the voice of the angel of the Lord, and he went to his brethren in Dothan, and he found them and do them feeding the flock. And Joseph advanced to his brethren, and before he had come nigh unto them, they had resolved to slay him. And Simeon said unto his brethren, Behold, the man dreams is coming unto us, the man of dreams is coming unto us this day. See, they got the problem, it's not him. And now therefore come and let us kill him. And this is what Cain did, cast him into one of the pits that are in the wilderness, and when his father shall seek him for us, we will say, an evil beast has devoured him. And Reuben heard the words of his brethren concerning Joseph. And he said unto them, You should not do this thing, for how can we look up to our father Jacob? Cast him into the pit to die there, but stretch not forth an hand upon him to spill his blood. And Reuben said, This is the order to deliver him from their hand, to bring him back to his father. Right? See that? So that's this Yah right here in Reuben. 27, Lord of hosts in Reuben. It says, And when Joseph came to his brethren, he sat before them, and they rose upon him, seized him, smote him to the earth, stripped the coat of many colors which he had on him, and they took him, cast him into a pit, and in the pit there was no water, but serpents and scorpions. And Joseph was afraid of the serpents and the scorpions that were in the pit. And Joseph cried out with a loud voice, and the Lord hid the serpents. See this? The Lord hid the serpents and the scorpions in the side of the pit, and they did not harm, and they did no harm unto Joseph. So, like I was telling you earlier, he was with Nebuchadnezzar. Ain't nothing finna happen to Nebuchadnezzar. He's with Darius. Ain't nothing finna happen to him. See that? So, let me get it. It said 29. And Joseph called out from the pit to his brethren and said unto them, What have I done unto you? See that? So, this is what I'm saying when you write the vibe is. Look what he's saying right here. So, how was he over there boasting? And the counter and the way they trying to convey his counter. See that? So that Joseph called out from the pit to his brethren and said unto them, What have I done unto you? See that? They don't add up. Say, and in what have I seen? See that? Why do you not fear the Lord concerning me? See that? And I am not of your bone and flesh, and is not Jacob. I say, am I not of your bone and flesh, and is not Jacob your father, my father? Why do you do this thing unto me this day? And how will you be able to look up to our father Jacob? And he continued to cry out and call unto his brethren from the pit. And he said, O Judah, O Simeon, O Levi, my brethren, lift me up from the place of darkness in which you have placed me, and come this day to have compassion on me, ye children of the Lord, and the sons of Jacob my father. And if I have sinned unto you, are ye not the sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? If they saw an orphan, they had compassion on him, or one that was hungry, they gave him bread to eat, or one that was thirsty, they gave him water to drink, or one that was naked, they covered him with garments. See, they mind couldn't handle that, to hear that. See that? And so, and how then will you withhold your pity from your brethren, for I am your flesh and bones? And if I have sinned unto you, surely you would do this on account of my father. And Joseph spoke these words from the pit, and his brethren could not listen. See that? His brethren could not listen to him, nor incline their ears to the words of Joseph. And Joseph was crying and weeping in the pit. And that's what these clowns say. Don't look at me. Don't look at me, because they wicked as hell. And so they couldn't stand us looking at them. You know, we ain't did nothing. There's no wickedness on us. So it says, and all his brethren heard his cries and his weeping in the pit, and his brethren went and removed themselves from the pit, so that they might not hear the cries of Joseph and the weeping in the pit. Ain't that something? So
yes.
You can take that, superimpose that, and bring it to the transatlantic slave trade.
Right.
Okay.
But it also teaches parents, if you do have like your pet or your special one or whatever, you got to keep that on the down low, because kids may not know how to process all that. You know what I'm saying? You treat one different than the rest of them. that's my mom was. She didn't play that. She got to treat everybody the same. Maybe whisper a little extra love to them at night before you put them to bed. But man, that's some dangerous stuff back there they pulled.
Oh
But
yeah.
his, that like what he said in like 29:30. To me, he was like pouring out his heart to them and letting them know that he didn't do, if he done anything, sinned against them, he truly apologized. I appreciate that, and to me it shows his innocence. So it don't match the ones where it says he got puffed up, so
Right. Exactly.
yeah. So
Right. So let's
That
look at
kind
this.
of goes back to where we at in the world today. Um, I have a cousin who absolutely does not have want to have anything to do with Esau, Edom, basically white folks and stuff. And he had in his passion, in his mind, in his heart. But if you would see him interact with these people, you would not know that, because he feels that he knows who they are, and it's just not in the nature to just go around like you see these Karens doing in the world. That's just not how we are. But this goes back to like what you said, Leonard. It's just not who we are, despite how
Right.
we dislike a person of another lighter melanin.
Right. Exactly. Right. So let me see what this brother talking about right here. It says that understanding typology is obvious. JC was the type of Joseph, right? That being said, is Revelations. Let's look at it. Revelations 12, verse 1. Let me get it. Revelations 12. Okay. 12 and 1 through 4 says, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she being with child cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads, 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. And his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, to devour her child as soon as it was born. Okay, he says, is that the same dream Joseph had in Genesis 37 and 9? Let's look at 37 and 9. Okay, 37 and 9. And he dreamed yet another dream and told it to his brethren and said, behold, I have dreamed a dream, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obstacles unto me. And he told it to his father. And okay, yeah, so as far as the sun and the moon and 11 stars, it's Israel. It's telling you it's Israel, right? That part of it is, yeah, it's the same, because it's talking about Jacob and his Jacob and his wife and the 12 boys. That's Israel, the sun-clad woman, right? Yeah, so that's that part of it. They got that part of it from Genesis chapter 37 and 9. But the other part of it is, like I said, they was sucking on grapes and wine over there in Alexandria, Egypt, and they, doing comparison and contrasting and blending the scriptures and making them what they call that, plagiarizing the Tanakh. So they
They
got to make.
didn't. It sound like they mixed the fall of the angels and Satan with not David. I mean Joseph and his dreams. It's like they combined them.
Yeah, they combined it because of when Satan came and the third part of the angels was before Genesis 1 and 1.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. That
don't make sense. Why'd you combine those of all? That don't make sense.
Right. Well, when you understand that we already had a redeemer, they trying to bring in another redeemer. That's why they're doing it. Like I was telling you, he told Daniel, seal up the book to the time of the end. And then, so the book sealed. Then Malachi tells you that Elijah coming back at the very end. Well, in order to open it up, you got to bring some clown in the New Testament, and that's John the Baptist. And then you're going to use JC. Like I said, it's an Edomite think tank doing this. It's a group of people concocted all this. So then they say, if you can believe it, John the Baptist is Elijah. Why would they write that? That means Elijah then came. That means the Old Testament that he told them to seal up and back open. And open it back up. But anybody that know anything about it, know Elijah ain't came yet. Because the end ain't here yet. So
well,
Elijah
I was wondering where John the Baptist character came from, but he took that from the Old Testament from. So they trying to say it's Elijah. Right.
That's why, and so that means the book opened back up. But he told Daniel the book was sealed to the time of the end. And the only way you can open it up is only way it's going to be opened back up is when Elijah comes. So they had to make, first of all, they had to pump JC up first for him to pump John up. And so you say, what are you talking about? Well, they went to another scripture and said, there's none greater than John the Baptist. There's no prophet greater than John the Baptist. That's in order for you to believe what John the Baptist is saying. So go ahead.
That goes by, I was reading, I ordered those two books, King Og and Enoch. And the guy who wrote that clearly says he left parts of the book out because it does not fit his narrative as to how he was wanting to write the book, that book.
Right, exactly.
So they admitted to doing this stuff. It is just crazy.
Right. That's they all was in Alexandria, Egypt, like I said. And the underlying factor about it was, like I said, when when the Greeks stopped their conquest of the world, it was in India. So all of them, they was all Buddhists. Nobody take that in consideration. They was Buddhists. So they was Buddhists in Alexandria, Egypt, when they was reading our scriptures and breaking our scriptures down and concocting all these books. They was Buddhists. And like I said, go look at the garments JC got on. You may know Israelite garments. That's Buddhism. That's Buddhist.
Hey, Leonard.
Go ahead.
Real quick, and we have to do a class on where these crazy gods, these from India, Buddhist gods, not night, but can you do a class on that? Where all them clowns came from?
Right. Yeah, we can do that. Okay. I actually got one on the Prophets of Awakening, but I can do another one.
Well, tell me the name that I can look that one up, and if you want to do another one, that's cool. But what's the name? We can do that offline. I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay. Well, what it is you got 12 uncomfortable conversations, right? It's one of those.
Okay, then I'll look at those.
Okay. Okay, so yeah. So I hope I shine some light on that, brother. Appreciate that. So I'm in 42. I'm gonna read 42. Yeah, I'm gonna read 42. So it says, and they went and sat on the opposite side, about the distance of a bow shot, and they sat there to eat bread. And while they were eating, they held counsel together what was to be done with him, whether to slay him or to bring him back to his father. They were holding the counsel when they lifted up their eyes and saw, and behold, there was a company of Ishmaelites coming at the distance by the road of Gilead, going down to Egypt. See that? So go to Psalms 87, 83, and it lists all the people that had a problem with the Israelites. And Ishmael, one of them. Look at this. They were holding counsel. This Yah. This is the Lord of hosts. That's what I'm telling you. This is how he operates. You have to understand when he's there and what he's doing. And when you assume there's something else going on, but he didn't want to orchestrate the whole thing. He said, they were holding counsel when they lifted up their eyes and saw, and behold, there was a company of Ishmaelites. Ain't that something? Out of all the people in the world, why it couldn't be a company of Persians or a company of Chinese? Just so happens it's a company of Ishmaelites coming at the distance by the road of Gilead going down to Egypt. And Judah said unto them, what gain will it be to us if we slay our brother? Peradventure, God will require him from us. This then is the counsel proposed concerning him, which ye shall do unto him. Behold, this company of Israelites going down to Egypt. Now, therefore, come, let us dispose of him to them, and let not our hand be upon him, and they will lead him along with them, and he will be lost among the people of the land, and he will not put him to death with our own hands. And the proposal pleased his brethren, and they did according to the words of Judah. See that? So just so happened, Judah the one that posed this. When you understand who Judah is, just so happened he posed that. Okay, because Yah, the Lord of hosts, says, and while they were discording about this matter, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites had come up to them, 7 trading men of the Midians passed by them, and as they passed by, they were thirsty, and they lifted up their eyes and saw the pit in which Joseph was immersed, and they looked, and behold, every species of birds were upon him. Okay, yeah, I don't understand. Oh, every species of bird was upon him. And these Midianites ran to the pit to drink water, for they thought that it contained water. And on coming before the pit, they heard the voice of Joseph crying and weeping in the pit. And they looked down into the pit, and they saw, and behold, there was a youth of comely appearance and well favored. And they called upon unto him and said, who art thou? And who brought thee hither? And who placed thee in the pit, in the wilderness? Look at that. In the wilderness. Come on now. And they all assisted to raise up Joseph, and they drew him out and brought him up from the pit and took him and went away on their journey and passed by their brethren. And these said unto them, why do you this, to take our servant from us and to go away? Surely we place this youth in the pit because he rebelled against us, and you come and bring him up and lead him away. Now then, give us back our servant. And the Midianites answered and said unto the sons of Jacob, is this your servant, or does this man attend you? Peradventure, you are all his servants, for he is more comely. Look at this. For he is more comely and well favored than any of you. See, this is what the problem is. Y'all ain't just showering these dreams and visions on him. You can see it. When you see him, when the 12 of them standing there, everybody can see Joseph standing out. Just like David did. He ain't got nothing to do with that. It's Yah. So he says, this is what and notice who these are. These Midianites. So who are the Midianites? That's Abraham's other children from Kukuk. Come on. Says, he said unto them, okay, 9, and the Midianites answered and said unto the sons of Jacob, is this your servant, or does this man attend you? Peradventure you are all his servants. See that? For he is more comely and well favored than any of you, and why do you all speak falsely on us? Now therefore we will not listen to your words, nor attend to you, for we found the youth in a pit in the wilderness, and we took him, and we will therefore go on. And all the sons of Jacob approached them and rose up to them and said unto them, give us back our servant. And why will ye all die by the edge of the sword? And the Midianites cried out against them, and they drew their swords and approached to fight with the sons of Jacob. And behold, Simeon rose up from his seat against them and sprang upon the ground and drew his sword and approached the Midianites. And he gave a terrible shout before them, so that the shouting was heard at a distance, and the earth shook at Simeon shouting, and the Midianites were terrified on account of Simeon and the noise of his shouting, and they fell upon their faces and were exceedingly alarmed. And Simeon said unto them, verily I am Simeon, the son of Jacob, the Hebrew. Who have only with my brethren destroyed the city of Shechem and the cities of the Amorites, so shall God moreover do unto me, that if all your brethren, the people of Midian, and all your kings of Canaanite were to come with you, they could not fight against me. Now therefore give us back the youth whom you have taken, lest I give your flesh to the birds of the skies and to the beasts of the earth. And the Midianites were more afraid of Simeon, and they approached the sons of Jacob with terror and fright, and with pathetic words, saying, surely you have said that the young man is your servant, and that he rebelled against you, and therefore you place him in the pit. What then will you do with a servant who rebels against his master? Now therefore sell him unto us, and we will give you all that you require for him. And the Lord was pleased to do this in order that the sons of Jacob should not slay their brother. And the Midianites saw that Joseph was of comely appearance and well favored. They desired him in their hearts, and were urgent to purchase him from his brother. And the sons of Jacob hearkened to the Midianites, and they sold their brethren Joseph to them for 20 pieces of silver. There we go, typology. And Reuben, their brethren, was not with them. And the Midianites took Joseph and continued their journey to Gilead. They were going along the road, and the Midianites repented of what they had done in having purchased the young man. And one said to the other, what is this thing that we have done in taking this youth from the Hebrews, who is of comely appearance and well favored? Perhaps this youth is stolen from the land of the Hebrews. And why then have we done this thing? If we should be sought for and found in our hands, we shall die through him. Now surely hardy and powerful men have sold him to us, the strength of one of whom you saw this day. Perhaps they stole him from his land with their might and with their powerful arm, and have therefore sold him to us was a small value which we gave unto them. And while they were thus discorded together, they looked, and behold, the company of Ishmaelites which was coming at first, which the sons of Jacob saw, were advancing toward the Midianites. And the Midianites said unto each other, come, let us sell this youth to the company of the Ishmaelites who are coming toward us, and we'll take for him the little that we gave for him, and we will be delivered from this evil. And they did so, and they reached the Ishmaelites, and the Midianites sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, which they had given for him to his brethren. And the Midianites went on their road to Gilead, and the Ishmaelites took Joseph, and they let him ride upon one of the camels, and they were leading him to Egypt. And Joseph heard that the Ishmaelites were proceeding to Egypt, and Joseph lamentated and wept at this thing that he was to be so far removed from the land of Canaan, or from his father. And he wept bitterly while he was riding upon the camel. And one of their men observed him and made him go down from the camel and walk on foot. And notwithstanding this, Joseph continued to cry and weep, and he said, oh, my father, my father. And one of the Israelites rose up and smote Joseph upon the cheek. See that? Typology. And still he continued to weep. And Joseph was fatigued in the road and was unable to proceed on account of the bitterness of his soul. And they all smote him and afflicted him in the road, and they terrified him in order that he might cease from weeping. And the Lord saw the ambitions of Joseph and his trouble, and the Lord brought down upon those men darkness and confusion, and the hand of every one that smote him became withered. And they said one to the other, what is this thing that God has done unto us in the road? And they knew not that this befell them on account of Joseph. And the men proceeded on the road, and they passed along the road to Ephesus, where Rachel was buried. And Joseph reached his mother's grave, and Joseph hastened and ran to his mother's grave and fell upon the grave and wept. And Joseph cried aloud upon his mother's grave, and he said, O my mother, O thou who didst give me birth, awake now, rise and see thy son, how he has been sold for a slave, and no one pitied him. Says, O rise and see thy son, weep with me on account of my troubles, and see the heart of my brethren, right? Okay. And arise, my mother, arouse, awake from sleep for me, and direct my battles against my brethren. Oh, how they have stripped me of my coat and sold me already twice for a slave, and separated me from my father, and there's no one to pity me. Sound like Deuteronomy 28 to me. Arouse and lay thy cause against them before God, and see whom God will justify in the judgment, and whom he will condemn. Rise, O my mother, rise, awake from thy sleep, and see my father, how his soul is with me this day, and comfort him and ease his heart. And Joseph continued to speak these words. Joseph cried aloud and wept bitterly upon his mother's grave. And he ceased speaking, and from bitterness of heart he became still as a stone upon the grave. And Joseph heard a voice speaking to him from beneath the ground, which answered him with bitterness of heart, and with a voice of weeping and praying in these words, my son Joseph, I have heard the voice of thy weeping and the voice of thy lamentations. I have seen thy tears. I know thy troubles, my son, and it grieves me for thy sake, and the abundance of grief is added to my grief. Now therefore, my son Joseph, my son, hope to the Lord, and wait for him, and do not fear, for the Lord is with thee. He will deliver thee from all trouble. Rise, my son, go down into Egypt with thy masters, and do not fear, for the Lord is with thee, my son. And she continued to speak, like unto the words unto Joseph, and she was still. And Joseph heard this, and he wondered greatly at this, and he continued to weep. And after this, one of the Israelites observed him crying and weeping upon the grave, and his anger was kindled against him, and he drove him from there, and he smote him and cursed him. Joseph said unto the man, may I find grace in your sight, take me back to my father's house, and he will give you abundance of riches. And they answered him, saying, art thou not a slave, and where is thy father? And if thou had a father, thou would have not already twice been sold for a slave, for a little value. And their anger was still aroused against him. They continued to smite him and chastise him, and Joseph wept bitterly, right? So what they sound like to me is what they call that, the night when they had JC and beat him, throw 44. And the Lord saw Joseph's affliction, and the Lord again smote these men and chastised them, and the Lord caused darkness to envelop them upon the earth, and a lightning flashed, and the thunder roared, and the earth shook with the force of the thunder, and the mighty winds, and the men were terrified and knew not where they should go. And the beasts and the camels stood still, and they led them, but they would not go. And they smote them, they cropped upon the ground, and the men said to each other, what is this that God has done unto us? What are our transgressions, and what are our sins, that this thing has thus befallen us? And one of the men answered and said unto them, perhaps on account of the sins of afflicting the slave, that this thing happened this day to us. Now therefore implore him strongly to forgive us, and then we shall know on whose account this evil has befallen us. And if God shall have compassion over us, then we shall know that all this cometh to us on account of the sins of afflicting the slave. And the men did so, and they supplicated Joseph and pressed him to forgive them. And they said, we have sinned to the Lord and thee. Now therefore vouchsafe to request of thy God that he should put away his death from among us, for we have sinned to him. And Joseph did according to his words, and the Lord hearkened to Joseph. And the Lord put away the plague which had inflicted upon those men on account of Joseph. And the beast rose up from the ground, and they conducted them, and they went on, and the raging storm abated, and the earth became tranquil, and the men proceeded on their journey to go down to Egypt. And the men knew that this evil had befallen them on account of Joseph. And they said to each other, behold, we know that this was on account of his affliction, that this evil is befallen us. Now therefore, why should we bring this death upon our souls? Let us hold counsel what to do with this slave. And one answered and said,
That don't sound like a man puffed up, though, do it, Leonard?
nah, that's what I say. That's what I'm saying. Esau get exposed every day. So it says, one answered and said, surely he told us to bring him back to his father. Now therefore come, let us take him back, and we will go to the place that he will tell us, and take from his family the price that we gave for him, and we will then go away. And one answered and said, behold, this counsel is very good, but we cannot do so for the way is very far from us, and we cannot go out of our road. And one more answer that said unto them, this is counsel to be adopted. We will not swerve from it. Behold, we are this day going into Egypt, and when we shall have come to Egypt, we will sell him there at a high price, and we will be delivered from his evil. And this pleased them, the men, and they did so, and they continued their journey to Egypt with Joseph. Okay? Any comments? Okay.
I see the typology where the earth went dark, and they used that for JC when he supposedly died on the cross. How the earth shook and it got dark. It seemed like this was typology too, where they got that from.
Right. Oh yeah. Right. It's the same thing. You know, Joseph being beaten, severely beaten.
So was the part about his mother speaking from the grave a typology? Because in the Catholic Church they talk about the people that are saints. They make saints and stuff can do the same thing and speak on your behalf of your sins and all that nonsense.
Right. I think it was Lord of Hosts to give him comfort. That's what I think, because he was so discombobulated, and he strengthened him by speaking to the grave to him. That's what I think. Okay, so let me see what this brother's talking about. It says Daniel saw JC at Daniel 10, 5 and 6. Okay.
Hey, Leonard, did you hear my question? Or did I get cut off?
No, I said that it was the Lord of Hosts speaking through the grave.
Okay, it was the Lord of Hosts, not his mother.
No, it wasn't his mother. He did that in order to comfort him, to strengthen him, because notice what he told him. Go on down into Egypt, and he'll be there. The Lord will be there with you. So he's confident. So I perceive that as the Lord of Hosts. He was in everything else, so I figured that was him right there, comforting him.
Okay, because I wasn't sure, because I got cut off. I wasn't sure. I didn't hear anything you said.
Oh yeah, right.
Okay.
Okay. So it says Daniel saw JC at Daniel 10 and 6. Let's go there. Daniel 10, verse 5 and 6. It says, Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded about with fine gold and upaz. His body also was like beryl, and his face as appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like the color of polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. So let's go to Ezekiel right quick. Well, yeah, let's go to Ezekiel in 2 places. We're going to see it at JC. Okay, Ezekiel chapter 9. Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 1 says, He cried also in mine ears with a loud voice, saying, Cause them that have charge over the city to draw near, every man with a strong weapon in his hand. And behold, 6 men came from the way of the higher gate, which lieth toward the north, every man with a slaughter weapon in his hand. And one man among them, clothed in linen, with a writer's inkhorn by his side, they went in and stood beside the brazen altar. Right? So who is this? The Most High in the very beginning, he created 7 angels. He formed them from fire. Those are the ones that's out in front of him. They're the eyes of the Lord that go to and fro in the whole earth. So it tells you right here, 6 of them, they in front of the altar. 6 of them went, and one of them, the man clothed in linen, the same one that's in Daniel 10, 5, and 6, is an angel. 7 angels. JC ain't no angel. Okay, so let's go one more place. I think it's in 12. Okay, yeah, chapter 10, verse 12. Chapter 10, I'm starting at verse 1. Then I looked, and behold, in the firmament that was above the heads of the cherubim, there appeared unto them as it were the sapphire stone, and the appearance of the likeness of a sapphire stone. And he spake unto the man clothed in linen, and said, Go in between the wheels, even unto the cherub, and fill thy hand with coals of fire from between the cherubim, and scatter them over the city. And he went in between the signs. So my question is that JC?
No.
Hell no, it ain't JC. So we see right here, typology at work again. Right, so let's see these 7 angels right quick. And then, you have to go on a quest. Zechariah, right quick. Let me get it right quick. Zechariah chapter 4. Zechariah chapter 4 says, I'm starting at 7. Who art thou, O great mountain? Behold, Zerubbabel, before Zerubbabel, thou shalt be a plain, and he shall bring forth the headstone with shouting, grace, grace unto grace. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, The hand of Zerubbabel laid the foundation of this house. His hand shall also finish it, and thou shalt know that the Lord of hosts. See that? It's the man clothed in linen. The Lord of hosts hath sent me unto you. For whoever despised the day of small things, for they shall rejoice and see the plummet in the hands of Zerubbabel with those 7. That's the same 7 I just showed you in Ezekiel chapter 8. And that's the 7 angels he created in the very beginning. And one of them, the man clothed in linen is one of them.
Yeah, it goes on to say they are the eyes of the Lord. So
right.
That's what you've been saying from the beginning. They are his eyes and ears.
Right. So,
even though he see everything, he's their spokesman.
Right. So you can't just jump. You can't just jump and jump up and say Genesis chapter 10, verse 5 and 6 is JC, because it ain't. When you write and divide the scriptures and walk the dog from Genesis chapter 1 all the way to Ezekiel, and you'll see it. That's why it says this right here. I'm back in Daniel. Daniel chapter 10. Chapter 10, verse 5 says, Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man. Why is it saying certain man? Because I just showed you he all through the scriptures. It's the same man that came to Abraham, same man that came to Adam in the garden in the cool of the day. Same man that walked with Noah. A certain man, clothed in linen. See that? Clothed in linen, whose loins were girded about with fine gold of Uphaz. His body also was like beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like the color of polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. Same man. He all over the scriptures. But they didn't.
So then, and if that was talking about, JC, couldn't they just easily wrote JC in there?
Yeah, right. Yeah, because it ain't because
if that was talking about this,
right, exactly.
He being so great of a man,
right. Right.
He being Old and New Testament, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Every time.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Andrew.
Nah, go ahead.
I didn't want to cut the
Nah,
gentleman
go ahead.
It seems like each time they describe the angels, they are of dark skin color.
Yeah, Burl, that's the color of a penny, brown skin. But like I say, we've been trying to read over. We read over all that. You know, that's why we quick to jump and say JC, but he ain't got nothing to do with it. It's because when you write and divide the scriptures, you see it ain't him.
I don't know how much of it's what's true, but I live here in Alabama, and it had a white kid in one of these little small hick towns. Um, he was I think about 12, 13 years old, and he had passed away, and they revived him.
Okay.
And this kid told his dad, "Y'all been lying to us the whole time." It's like every higher being that he saw, what he said he saw and he used N-word was a nigga.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that video.
Yeah, and
I did too. That made national news. Yes.
yeah, and I'm like, well, the lie is strong, and even our own people refuse to believe the truth.
Right. That's why he says his elect. You know, it's the people that's being waking up, the people that's coming to the proper understanding is being chosen and selected. You know, like I just showed you, he showed Jacob had 12 sons, but he selected Joseph. Jesse had a bunch of boys, but he selected David.
Hey, Leonard, that's what I got out of that Psalms 65 and 4. When you was reading that Psalms, if you go back to 65 and 4, just what you're saying about the elect, that's what I got out of that 65 and 4.
Okay. Psalm 65 and 4. Okay. Okay, it said, blessed is the man whom thou choosest and causest to approach unto thee, that he may dwell in the courts. We shall be satisfied with the goodness of thy house, even the holy temple. Yeah, that's exactly right. And so a prime example of that, it was, didn't he call Moses out? He called Moses out of Egypt. Moses had something. Moses was second in charge in line to be the Pharaoh, and he wasn't even the Pharaoh from the Pharaoh lineage. But he was second. He was next in line to be the Pharaoh, and he snatched him out of there and called him to the mount, and then told him what he wanted him to do. That's what that verse saying. See that? It said, "Blessed is the man whom thou choosest, and cause it to approach unto thee." Ain't that what Moses did at the burning bush?
Yes, indeed.
Right. Well, that's what we're talking about.
And that's what we're all doing here today.
Right. Exactly. And that's got to be understood. So let me go one more verse for because I don't want to just stay at that 10 and 5 of Daniel. I'm gonna go to Genesis 18 right quick. Genesis 18. It says, everybody should know the story, but it may not. So it says the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre and sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. He lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. So we know these angels. Right? And when he saw them, he ran to meet them, this Abraham, from the tent door and bowed himself toward the ground. Then he said, "My Lord," capital L, if I have now found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. So out of them 3 angels, he went to the Lord. One of these angels is the Lord. This is the man clothed in linen, that's girded about with a golden girdle that's in Daniel chapter 10 and 5. So he says, he went to him. You say, what you mean? he went to him. Verse 3 says, my Lord, right? He didn't say lords with an S on it. He went out of them three, one of them is the Lord. And it's the Lord of hosts over Yahweh's kingdom, the strong one over Yahweh's kingdom. And he said, my Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee from thy servant. So you say, what are you talking about? Verse 22, proper English. And the men turned their faces from thence and went towards Sodom. But Abraham stayed yet with the Lord, capital L. So 2 on went to Sodom, verse 19 and 1. And there came 2 angels to Sodom at evening, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot seen and rose up to meet them and bowed himself to the ground. So 2 on went to Sodom. But in verse 22, Abraham stayed yet with the Lord. That's how that justifies 18 and 3. He went to the certain angel and bowed down to him and said, my Lord. How you knowing? Go back to Genesis chapter 12. I'm going to leave it there. Let's go to Genesis chapter 12. Okay. We're up in that red zone again where all these pages fell out. Okay, Genesis chapter 12. Chapter 12, verse 7. Well, I'm going to read 1 first. The Lord has said unto Abraham, see, he's talking to the Lord right here, same Lord. Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto the land which I shall show thee, right? Then you go to verse 5. And Abraham took Sarah, his wife, and Lot, his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran, and they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came. And Abraham passed through the land unto the place of Sichem, unto the plains of Moreh, and the Canaanites were then in the land. Here we go, 7. And the Lord appeared unto him. See that? So he was talking to him right here. He seen it, right? Man, clothed in linen, the same man Daniel dealing with. That's why in 18, verse 3, he went to him. It's 3 of them came. And verse 3, and Abraham said, my Lord. He went right to him. He dealt with him over there. He appeared to him. Just like he appeared to Daniel. And say 3, and he said, my Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee from thy servant. Again, 22, 2 of the other 2 angels, Gabriel and Uriel, went on to Sodom. And Abraham stayed there with the Lord, man clothed in linen, girded about with a golden girdle. Okay. Anybody got anything else? We got about 7 minutes.
Hey, Len, I just wanted to make sure. I sent those papers. Gladys, were you able to get them and send them to folks? That has all the listings, the times that the Most High said, "My people."
Who you sent them to?
I sent them to Gladys. I think you still on, Gladys?
Okay.
I am here, and yes, you did send those to me, but you also posted them in the chat.
Okay, yeah, okay. Just want to make sure everybody saw them. I wasn't sure if you're going to go into emails as well, but it's in the chat, and it's 2 different sets of paperwork with, and it's listed. It's self-explanatory.
Yeah, can you is it possible to send them to Messenger?
Yeah, I can send it to Messenger.
Yeah, so that way everybody can view.
It's in the chat. It's in the Messenger chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I'll just resend it just for keepsake.
Okay.
Yeah, Kenny, if you can send it again. I must have missed that lesson because
Okay, I'll do that tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, we got one more right here. Let me see what he's talking about. It says the eclipse which took place 4 years ago lined up perfectly with Revelation 12:1. The woman Virgo, clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, with the crown of 12 stars occurred on this event. Okay. I'm bedazzled on that one, brother. Yeah. So like I was saying before, is when you go back to what happened with Antioch Epiphanes, from that point on, he's got two women. It's two women. Because Esau stole the land and started calling himself by the 12 tribes also. So you got two women. You got the real woman, just like with Solomon, when the woman brought the mama, she had two little boys. She had the boys, one of the boys that died. And Solomon was trying to figure out which one of them was the real mother. So it's two women. The real woman fled into the wilderness and went to the west coast of Africa. And the fake woman went into Europe. So, we know it's two different books. One of the books fake, one of the books real. So who this woman just clothed, in Revelations, who is that woman? Is that the real woman or is it the fake woman? Okay. Anybody else got anything?
I just have a little small comment about 41 and 28 when they cast Joseph in the pit with the serpents and scorpions,
Right.
and the Lord was there. So you can see right there when you're being called that nothing is going to happen to you, no matter what other people try to do. When you're being called, you're
Right.
being also protected. So that shows it in verse 28. That kind of stood out to me.
Right, exactly. Right. It's nothing to be. It's not that you conceded. It's just that you've arrived at a place where you see how the Most High operate when it comes to that there's nothing gonna befall you.
Right.
So it's a confidence in Him. That's what that is. Like I say, if something happened to me, my eyes gonna be popped out my head. I'm gonna be getting crazy. I'm gonna understand that.
Right.
Yeah. You're not gonna, like he said, let's look at it. Because he can prophesy that we're not doing right. So he prophesied that he's gonna deliver us, right? He already told us. We already figured that out. He most times told us that in the scriptures. So I'm in Isaiah 66.
Okay.
And then we're gonna close out. Isaiah 66 says, Isaiah 66 says, okay, verse 5, hear the word of the Lord, ye that tremble at his word, your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake, said, let the Lord be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. A voice of noise from the city, a voice from the temple, a voice of the Lord that renders recompense to his enemies. Before she travailed, she brought forth. Before pain came, she was delivered of a man child. That's David. 8, who have heard such a thing? Who have seen such a thing? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? Or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children, right? So this is what I'm talking, this is what I'm talking about. So same when 9 months come, when the woman did, conceive, and 9 months later, when them 9 months point come, time for the baby come, there ain't nothing you can do to stop the baby from coming out. So the Most High posed a question in verse 9. Shall I bring the birth and not cause to bring forth, said the Lord? Shall I cause to bring forth and shut the womb, says the Lord? Rejoice, ye with Jerusalem. Be glad with her, all ye that love her. Rejoice for joy with her, all ye that mourn for her. So there ain't nothing nobody can do.
Right.
There ain't nothing you can do.
Right.
When the time comes, it's hammer time. You ain't nothing you can do. Like I say, go get you a cup of coffee or something, and get out the way.
Right. Take a seat. Yes.
When he said when it's time for us to be delivered, ain't nothing nobody gonna do to stop us from being delivered.
That's right. Hallelujah.
You can look at
See,
that Go ahead.
They're gonna step out the way and let us be delivered, and they're gonna leave in spaceships.
Okay, ain't that so?
What you get, Virgin Galactic?
Right. Let's gotta beam them up.
Yeah, something. But
All
hey,
right.
I posted those in a message, Andrew, and anyone else who was interested.
Okay. All right. Anybody got anything else before we go?
We will try to get that shared with all the others that are not in Messenger, because everybody's not in Messenger because they don't have social media. So we'll try to get that out to everyone else.
Okay. So let me give you some of this line, then we're gonna go. Okay, I'm gonna see we have the women's line Bible study tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and I'll see everybody else on Friday. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.